What do you do when you're faced with bad connectivity and your complaints are falling on deaf ears? Well, we spoke to the Consumer Forum of Malaysia, or CFM, an agency under the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commissions. Now, CFM's job is to receive complaints from consumers about internet and telco services in Malaysia. While broadband prices may have come down over the last few months, unfortunately, the number of complaints have also gone up, with billing disputes and service disruption making up the highest number of complaints. We came to CFM with this question. Now, should consumers ask for a rebate from their service provider if they suffer downtime in their service?
It is quite difficult questions to answer actually. What you are asking is some kind of rebate for non-service availability. On one hand, there are mandatory standards on quality of service that mandate certain service ability or certain allowable downtime for internet service, for example, house internet, fiber or line wired broadband, for example. But to the customers, there are no clear-cut SOP or processes that have been put in place on how to address major downtime that takes a lot of times. So there's always been a negotiation or rather and push by certain parties like the regulator, by CFM for service provider to undertake compensation mechanism or a rebate, for example, to customers that has been affected. It has happened before. For example, a few years ago, there was a major down in the mobile service during Hari Raya break. So the telco, upon discussion, take initiative to offer certain free services like free calls and free SMS during certain period to compensate for the downtime that has been faced by the customers. There's also rebates that have been given for downtime for wired broadband at homes, but on case-to-case basis, upon discussion and negotiation between the parties involved, which is the customer as well as service providers.
Before signing up for any contract, read the terms and conditions. For customers who complain of no coverage in certain areas, Azizan says consumers should ask beforehand what's the coverage like at their workplace and at their home address before signing up.
First, if you are staying at area A, you make query to your service provider, is my area covered? Because they are obligated to advise customers which areas have coverage or which areas does not have coverage. And most of packages without device subsidies are not contracted. But if you are subscribing to a service which have a lot of benefits, for example, device subsidies or free devices, for example, of course, you will be contracted for 12 or 24 months. And once you are contracted, it's very difficult for you to get out. Then the advice is first to make query to ask your service providers whether you have areas or not. But if happen to be that you have subscribed and suddenly, for whatever reason, earlier there was a coverage and suddenly not, you can lodge your complaints to CFM. We will try to mediate because there will be always a resolution that can satisfy both parties.
According to CFM, there is a standard operating procedure on how complaints should be handled. The first person you should complain to is the service provider. If you don't hear back from them after 3 working days, then you can send a complaint to CFM. Otherwise, if you do hear back from the service provider, but you're still not happy with the resolution, then you can still contact CFM. While CFM does not have any enforcement power, it can report to the Malaysian Communication and Multimedia Commission, or MCMC, for further action. We also asked Azizan what happens if the area you stay in does not get high-speed fiber optics internet service. For example, half of the houses in the area you stay in get high-speed internet, while your house in the same area is only limited to lower-speed copper line internet. What should consumers do in this situation?
Some areas will be covered, some areas will not be covered, some services are available, some services are not available due to the availability and capacity of the service. In one area of 1,000 homes, the potential capacity could be not maximum 1,000. In a lot of situations, it's much less than that because the anticipation is not 100% will subscribe. So if there is more demand from that particular areas, the service providers usually will provide additional capacity to cater for the service.
He added coverage may not be as good in remote areas because the service provider might not find it profitable to serve the area. But the government, through its long-term Universal Service Provision Fund, will provide internet service to those areas. If you want to reach CFM, you can visit their website at aduan.skmm.gov.my. Or if you have no internet or phone service and want to talk to a real person, then you can drop in at their office at Cyberjaya. So far, the government has already reduced broadband prices by 56%, and through the long-term National Fiberization and Connectivity Plan, Azizan says that the cost of using internet services in Malaysia is expected to come down further. So there may still be more good news for Malaysian internet users in the months ahead.